Do you listen to yourself? And I'm not saying your voice. Do you listen to what is being said inside? That little voice inside your head called intuition. When you lean into your intuition, it is going to help you gain the clarity you need to make better business decisions and to be able to achieve your goals. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to have an in depth conversation about clarity of intuition. Stay tuned. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Clarity in Action. Welcome to Clarity in Action. This is the show where we have real conversations that are going to challenge your perspectives and drive real action. So if you are tired of holding back and you're ready to make bold moves, this is the show for you. Join us as we are going to take you from confusion into clarity. Welcome to another episode of Clarity in Action, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. We're going to be talking about the power of listening to yourself and leaning into your own intuition. And to help me with this conversation as an expert in this field, I am bringing on Eric Samdahl. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This is going to be a fun conversation.
It's going to be great. And intuition is something I want to learn more about because it's something that I don't always do. I second guess myself all the time. So I'm really hoping you can bring me some clarity on this. And I would love to just start the conversation out by asking you, what was your moment of clarity that keyed you into the importance of intuition?
So this happened. I've been leaning into this for years, but I didn't really realize what I was doing. But this happened right around the pandemic, and it's like, what do you really do? What do you really want to do? And what am I really good at? And that was kind of the thought process behind a lot of this. Is we've got this, and I'll give you a little bit of backstory. I was talking to a lot of my entrepreneurial friends and saying, what are you doing to take your business someplace or not someplace? And a lot of them, you had to get into a creative space. The ones that really excelled during the pandemic were the ones that really leaned into their intuition. Like, I know I need to do this, or I know I need to do that because I've done this before, or I've seen this done before. The ones that didn't aren't around. And that's really where it was kind of a kick in the pants, kick in the teeth, kick in the butt, whatever you want to call it. At that time, it's like, okay, who's going to be successful? The ones that are successful are the ones that actually leaned into their intuition. And I'll give you a great example. There's a smoothie shop that I frequented during the pandemic. And one of the cool things that they did was, and if you remember, nobody could go anywhere, nobody could go into stores, et cetera, et cetera. So they started with curb service, and they didn't know what the heck they were doing. They're like, all right, how do we bring customers into us? Well, we're going to start doing curb service. You could literally order online, come pick it up. Now, the coolest thing that they did was, if you remember, here in the US, you couldn't go out, and I think it was probably the same way in Canada. You couldn't go out anywhere and actually pick up groceries. You had to get a slot to go get them, even if you could get them. So one of the cool things that they did was they're like, all right, look, we know that their people need groceries. And so what they did was they reached out to their suppliers for fresh fruits and vegetables and said, I want to buy more. And so what you could do is you could actually buy a paper box, the ones that you get the 20 reams in, for like $30, like all kinds of potatoes and lettuce and everything you would put into a smoothie. They just bought more of it and they sold it. So they got creative. They figured out ways to bring people in to make their business continue so that it would go on beyond the pandemic. And so that's really what, intuition is like, how else can I solve this problem? What else can I do? You kind of know what it is, but you just got to lean into it and then actually do it.
I like how you bring it back to the idea that it's tying it to problem solving. It's looking at a new way of approaching things and, using that term of leaning in, of saying, I know that there is a new creative solution and tapping into that creativity. That's great. So,
yeah, I mean, you look at all the great entrepreneurs, the great business leaders, 60% of them, you can look it up, 60% of them lean into their intuition. It's not always about the data. You want the data to help back you up. But the intuition piece is where you get the innovation, you get the next level, you get this massive success, is doing those things that, your little spidey sense or whatever you want to call it tells you need to do.
Okay. So 60% do that, which means 40% still do not. So why don't we? Why does that 40% not listen to that spidey sense?
Because they're chicken. They are.
Bok, bok, I'm one of
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, no, I mean, but seriously, we've been taught that like oh, this is woo woo. It's really not. Your body knows.
Mhm.
And people that don't lean into their intuition, they just kind of like push it aside. I worked with a client that said, we're gonna live in the data. The data will set us free. And like, yeah, but the data's not going to help you be really successful.
Mhm.
And that same entrepreneur, specifically during the pandemic, sales were going up because he had one of those products that all the sales were going up. But the problem became is like, if you look at the data goes like this, but all of a sudden it's going to start going like this because of the fact that his product wasn't necessarily necessary beyond the pandemic.
Mhm.
So if you look at the data, the trend is like this. But at some point, it's like, hey, wait a minute. Intuition's telling me that thing's going to turn around because of what he was selling.
Right.
And so this is the thing is like, intuitively, I know that this was going to change,
Mhm.
but he continued to buy and continued to buy in order to ramp up that sale number. But then the sales started going like this.
Yeah.
And so,
I can think
we've
of
all
so
got it.
many yeah, and I can think of so many times in my own life and career where I was chicken and I didn't lean
Mhm.
in early on. I think I always knew I wanted to be a speaker and do things that I'm doing
Mhm.
now,
Sure.
but I listened to it's going to be too competitive. It's going to be
Mhm.
so hard. Nobody will do those things. So I went what we would call the safe route of
Right.
thinking, okay, I'll have a safe career. And I'm like, if I would have just leaned into that, maybe done some more research to gather the data,
Hmm. Hmm.
I would have then had the support and the confidence to then lean into it more. And I mean, I could have been on the forefront. I could have been,
Right.
done this
Right.
20 years earlier.
Right. And here's the thing is like, and that you said it right there. It's the confidence to know that this is okay.
Hmm.
Innovation, if you look at all the innovative things in the world, light bulb, let's go back there. The car, innovation, right? All of this stuff comes from like, oh, hey, what if we did that? Or
Hmm.
what if we did this? That was just leaning into it and then taking the step to go beyond it and
Yeah.
put it into play. Same thing in your life, same thing in my life. It's having that confidence, like, you know what? I'm going to try it.
Mhm.
What happens if I fail? What happens if I don't do this? And I hate the word fail, but what happens if this doesn't work? And part of the problem in our decision-making process is it's easy to look back and say, oh, this is it. This
Mhm.
is what's different now. And all of the teams that I've ever led, all the people that I've ever led in my life, I said, look, here's the deal. I will back your decision making 100% if you made the best decision you could at the time you needed to make it with the information that you had. Okay. And this is the problem is like, we can look back and say, oh, well, that's different now. Well, but the decision that you made right at that time, you had all of this information and you made that decision and you move forward off of that. So, okay, well, we know this now, we know that now. Okay, well, then what would you do? Well, we're going to adjust this way. And this is where we put such a negative thing on failure. It's not failure, we just have more information.
Exactly. And, this concept of failure, it's so rooted in the fear. And we tend to focus on all the reasons it's not going to work
Mhm.
rather than that one that it might. And going back
Right,
to your example of the light bulb, that's what people say. He didn't fail. He learned, what was it, 9,999 times
right,
on how it didn't work to get to the one way of how it did.
right. But it's just it's finding that way. He knew he could do this.
Hmm.
It was just finding that way through.
Yeah.
And you can take any innovation out there. It all
Hmm.
came from really, it's like, here's the situation. I know I can figure this out.
Yeah. I would love to ask in your opinion because ultimately it's all on us. We have to take
Mhm.
the leap of faith and do it. But
Right.
how important is your support system around you in helping you to trust and lean into your intuition?
Um, once again, kind of goes back to you. Uh, but at the end of the day, you've got to, if you've got people around you, it's having good people around you
Hmm.
and understanding that, what, making that decision at that time with the information you have. But it's important because you've got three things that you got to do. You got to make the decision at the time you need to make it. Because if you wait, other people are like, oh, well, I need more information. I'm like,
Hmm.
why?
Right.
And this is the problem is like, if you don't have those people, like,
Hmm.
let's go.
Yep.
But there's a trust that has to happen and a respect that has to happen as well in the decision makings that you do. in order to make sure that everybody's feels safe around you, that you're making these decisions. And as long as they feel safe, they'll follow.
Exactly. And I think sometimes the idea is, sharing your goals, but not sharing it always with everybody, sharing it with the right people who can help you and support you and help you with the clarity. And even though you might be innovating something brand new that nobody's ever done before, the example of the pandemic is just find other people who have been innovative in their own right. How did they start? And that idea of success leaves clues.
Absolutely, it does. You can see, you can take apart things that people have done, and
Hmm.
it's no different. I mean, people take apart things I do. Me talking about intuition. There's other people that do it. Mel Robbins, she's great about talking about intuition. I'm
Right.
not, but here's the thing: is like we're trying to drive people into like you can make better decisions quicker if you just lean into your intuition.
Yeah, tell me more about that though. Tell me more about, because I know it sounds basic, but some people still may not understand really how it works. How does following your intuition truly help you with better decisions?
One of the things that people get, and I see this a lot in business, like, oh, we need more information. Okay, so let's take that, just take that little concept right there. I need more information. All right, so what are you missing that you think you're going to get with more information? Now, if you take that decision, like, let's go move forward with X, we're going to do this project. The thing you got to remember is like, I got to wait for more information. I got to wait for more data behind me
Mhm.
where you can be here, where you've made that decision and moving through it and taking it. Oh, now we know this. Let's move over here. Now we know this. We can adjust like this. So waiting for that time, it puts you actually farther behind than if you make the decision and start tweaking the things that you need to tweak in order to move your company forward, move your personal life forward, move your whatever forward. You know
Mhm.
how, you know that there's a decision out there that you need to make. You know the way you need to go. Our brains are super great about processing a lot of information that we keep in our filing cabinet in our head. We've
Mhm.
done these things before, we've seen them done before, but yet we don't trust ourselves enough to actually make the decision
Yeah.
because we don't have the confidence to be able to do it.
Right.
We got to take that step. Once
Mhm.
you take that step, then it's like, oh, that worked.
Yeah.
That worked. That worked. And then it becomes super easy to do that.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, is, embracing the idea that even if it doesn't work, that's okay. And that's part of the
Mhm.
process.
Absolutely.
And to be happy at those moments too, because now you've learned the elimination and it again gives you the clarity and the confidence to just try it a different way until you
Right.
get
But you got to make that decision and then act on it
there. Hmm.
so that you can see where you need to make the adjustment. If you do, you may not need to, but
Yeah.
you're going to have to. I mean, it's just the way the nature of the beast is. So remember, if you did make the decision, you're 6 months, 7 months, 5 months, whatever behind because you're waiting for more information. And
Hmm.
business doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait.
So true. So true. So going back to, that spidey sense that we talked about
Mhm.
earlier. I know everybody is different. For you, how do you know? Like what are some of the things that happens with you that you get the inclination of something's not in alignment and you need to lean into your intuition?
So let's take this just a little step backwards here. So we've all got it. This is what we've everybody has intuition, has the ability to lean into their intuition. Where this comes into play is you've got to be you've got to have a quieter mind. We get filled with so much information that's coming at us on our phones and our emails and da 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 da. That quiet mind helps us be able to clarify things. And once you love to talk about clarity. This is where it comes from, is we've got to have a quieter mind. When I see these things myself, it's because I have a quieter mind. It's like, oh, there it is. Oh, it's this right here. It
Mhm.
kind of knocks on the door a little bit. And you're like, oh, you see little glimpses of it. But then when you clear your mind and settle your mind down a little bit, you're like, "Ah, there it is." And so that's, we've got to do that. And this is, society has been horrible about, the dopamine hit of you watching your phone and looking for the email blings on the thing
Mhm.
on your computers. You got to stop those things, especially if you need to be in a smart decision making place.
Right. Definitely. So where is your place where you quiet your mind? For me, it always happens on a road trip or when I'm out for a walk. That's where I get those ideas that are so clear and I'm like I could see the vision.
Right. And so, one of the things that's really helped me a ton is meditation.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me do that, but it's, it's the same thing with me. It's like, I'll go out on a walk because, and don't take your damn phone with you. If you, I mean, you can take it with you, but don't be listening to a podcast or anything like that, because it doesn't allow yourself to do that. We think we've got to have all of this information coming into our brain. Our brain still needs to rest. And this is the thing we're not doing with it, because we've got emails, we've got phone calls, we've got texts, we've got multiple texts, we've got all these text threads that we're watching, whatever the heck it is. You've got to allow yourself to have that downtime with your brain. You got Slack channels going, you got this, you got, et cetera, et cetera. You've got to allow your brain to rest. Our bodies rest, our bodies sleep. Our
Right.
brain needs to do that same thing. And if we can do that during the day, I'm a big proponent of time blocking.
Mm-hmm.
Block those times out. You're not gonna get to talk to me before about 9 o'clock in the morning, because I'm blocking that time for myself to be able to do the things I want to do, reading, journaling, exercise, all of those things. That allows my brain that space to be able to work through stuff.
Yeah. As a high performer, I love to start my day with two critical things. One, time with my dog, and two, coffee. And not just good coffee, but great coffee. I am proud to have Fetch Coffee Roasters as a sponsor for Clarity in Action, not only because they have great coffee with fun names such as Muddy Paws and Squirrel, but also for every bag of coffee that they sell, they donate $1 to helping dogs in need. I mean, how much better could it get than that? In fact, they've raised over $25,000 in their local communities. So go over to fetchroasters.com and grab your coffee and share some love with some dogs in your community too. Now, the next question I have for you is, I'm not really sure if it's one that you can even answer or not, but it's this idea of analysis paralysis. You mentioned the idea that you get the idea and you do need to do some research and gather data, but that could also spiral us. And I could see a lot of people, well, I need more data, I need more. And at some point in time, you it's enough and you got to go forward with the direction and the decision. So, when is it too much data?
Oh boy. Okay. That's a big rabbit hole to jump down. But here's the thing, is like, you know when you need to make that decision. And if you're leaning into the fact that it's like, I need more data, that's a confidence problem. And it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get to a point where, and the more you do this, the easier it becomes. There's patterns that happen, and you see the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, you can look at, you can look at anything in business. You look at ROAS. What's a good ROAS? Well, who cares what a good ROAS is? Because you need to look at, and like, how am I really helping my clients? How am I helping my customers? One of the things that that I talk about a lot is customer journey. And, oh, well, we look at this and we look at NPS scores and da 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 da. I'm like, that doesn't tell you anything. What's the best way to do this? Get on the phone and talk to your customers. Like, have a conversation with them. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to interrupt them. Then understand that you're going to struggle because of the fact that you're not even willing to go and call your customers to find out what it is that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to really understand the data, and what data are we collecting? Why are we collecting it? We've got all of these metrics, these KPIs that we're chasing. Do we really need them?
Right.
No, because the people that are scared to make a decision, they want to blame it on the data. Oh, that's what the data told me.
Mm-hmm.
But they're holding their company back. You're holding yourself back. Oh, I need more data. I don't know about this and I don't know about that. I'm like, why do you need it? That's the question I ask. I'm like, why do I need more data? I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the question you've got to ask, is like, what is really holding me back, and getting backwards into that thing. And like, what am I scared of?
It's so true. And I love the idea that you bring in the human element, because, again, technology is great and we can gain some good insights, but nothing will ever replace the real conversations that we can have with people.
Right.
And let's get to the heart of it.
Right.
So I know that you work with people, you have some amazing programs to help this. What is there sort of an overwhelming arc of sort of that first step that you take people through and help them get started?
it becomes a confidence thing. It's like, talk to me about where you're struggling with decision making. Because I mean, that's all we're doing is we're decision making. I just happen to do it in business, but this
Mm-hmm.
applies across your life as well. And it's just, tell me about the things you struggle with. Well, it's this or it's that or whatever. It's like, well, why did you struggle with this? Well, I wasn't sure about making this decision. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why? Well, it affects a lot of people's lives. I'm like, yeah, it can affect them positively or negatively. If you wait, that's potentially negative because you missed the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all of these things you can look at, and what I try to do with my clients is break it down. Like, what are the pieces of information that you had? Oh, it's this. Okay. So why didn't you make a decision there? Well, because I wanted more. I'm like, okay, so what were you looking for that you didn't think you had? That's a great question. What are you
Right.
looking for that you didn't think you had? Because when you look at that one piece, there was probably four pieces in front of that that got you to this point.
Mm-hmm.
But then once again, it becomes the struggle of confidence in your decision making because you're afraid of what somebody's going to say more than likely.
Exactly. Which they never may even say. We're
Well,
creating
they,
these
they may
stories.
not. And at the end of the day, who the hell cares?
Exactly.
This is your business. These are your decisions. This is the things
Mhm.
that you want to do. Make those decisions.
Yeah.
Get
And
into get
you
into it.
talk about the customer journey. And I think a big
Mhm.
thing too is I think sometimes when people are putting these together, they get so focused on, well, it may not work for this person, or this person might be upset of it. And they forget that they don't need to serve the masses. What is going to be right for your target audience?
Mhm.
And they get so stretched by the global aspect rather than the niche aspect. Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many companies that they want to serve the masses. And kind of the way I like to explain this is like, look, here's the deal. When you're developing your client avatar, your customer avatar, whatever you want to call it, think about it like this. You're standing at the side of a lake and you've got a rock in your hand and you throw that rock out into the lake. Wherever it hits, that's your ideal client, your ideal customer. Okay. Now there's going to be ripples where you're going to get more people. But the focus you need to make on is that rock that you threw in. What do you know about them? What are the psychographics? What are the demographics? You're going to get other people that are going to see this. They're not going to be your ideal client. Your ideal client is that rock.
Mhm.
And you've got to focus on what that is. When you've got somebody that's your ideal client, we talked about it earlier. Get on the phone with them. Talk about it. Hey, what do you like about what we do? What could we do better? What are the things that you might want to buy from us? Well, what services might we be able to offer you? Oh, it's this.
Yeah.
But you've got to have these conversations. Everybody wants new clients. Everybody wants to like, oh, my customer acquisition cost is X. What are you doing to retain the ones you got?
Exactly. I would tell you that is the best explanation I've heard. So simplistic. Thank you for that. That was
Ooh,
really,
yeah.
really great. Just way of explaining it and
Mhm.
saying that it's not that we can't work with the others, but let's start somewhere. That was brilliant. I would love to ask, do you have maybe just a quick example of somebody that you've worked with? You don't need to say their name, but how they came to you very confused and not having the confidence, and how you were able to take them from point A to get them unlocked and get them the clarity they need.
Yeah, so there's a couple of clients that kind of come to mind, and I'll talk in very general terms, which we kind of talked about a little bit before. It's like, all right, so where are you struggling? A lot of it is just making decisions,
Mm.
and it's hiring people. There's a great one. Okay, so hiring people, I'm like, oh, we need to have another person. Like, okay, so what's that person going to do? Well, we need to do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, so do you have enough business to justify bringing that person on? Well, not right now. Okay. So what can we do in order to get those things solved? Oh, we could do this. It's just about asking questions and kind of pulling it apart a little bit. I mean,
Mm.
that's all a decision is like, I need to do this. I'm like, okay, so how else can I solve that? Oh, I
Yeah.
want to hire a person. Like, well, could we do it with freelance people until we get to a place of this? Oh, I'll give you a great example now. CRM. I had a client that wanted to buy a CRM. Okay. Like, why do you need a CRM? How many clients do you have?
Mhm.
Oh, we've got 20. Like, what's the data you want to get in the CRM? Well, we need their name, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, so how much is a CRM going to cost? Oh, it's 150 bucks a month. So you've got 20 clients you want to put into a CRM. Well, we can grow with this. I'm like, you realize a CRM is basically a spreadsheet, right? Yeah. Why don't you build a spreadsheet, figure out what you want to have in that spreadsheet, and then at a certain point where you get 300 or 150, push that in there. Oh, I never thought about it like that. But they want to have the sexy, well, I've got this CRM, but that's, that's the typical entrepreneur. I'm like, oh, I'm running this system and that system and this system. And like, do you need
Let's
it?
design it and let's see what we need it to do first
Exactly,
so we
exactly.
can get
That's
the
and
right
that's
one.
the thing. You're right, exactly. Because you're
Mhm.
not going to use it necessarily the same way everybody else does. And this person, and I said the other thing you got to consider is like you've got this CRM now. It's great. You're spending $150 a month or whatever it is on it. Who's going to learn how to use it? How long is that going to take? Spreadsheet's pretty easy. Like I put the name.
Mhm.
It's going to have to get in there somehow to begin with, but it's just breaking the thought process down, and they want the sexy part of like, oh, I'm running this CRM, but they don't think about all the other pieces that go into it. How's the data going to get in there? Who's going to learn how to use it? How easy is it to learn? Is it intuitive?
Right. Great point.
So
Great example. So thank you. Well, Eric, this has been an awesome conversation. I already feel more confident and clear in what I'm doing. So thank you.
good, good.
I would love to ask, I know that you have a lot going on and you're really focused on bringing this value. You do some amazing posts and give some great resources on your platforms like LinkedIn, but I'd love to ask what's next for Eric?
Just talking more about this. I mean, this is the game changer in business, in the world, is really leaning into this. So yeah, check me out. Come hang out with me on LinkedIn. Usually on there, pretty much every day. If not doing it with client work, but yes, it's great. I've got a book out there as well on Amazon. It's on my LinkedIn, so you can go check that out as well. It's a tool that I use a lot of my clients. It's not a journal or adult coloring book because it's both. The reason why we put it in there, the journal, it takes you like 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes in the evening. And then every 7 days, there's a little thing to color because it helps get you into that creative space. It gets your mind off of other things. So yeah,
Beautiful.
come check me out on LinkedIn, hang out, reach out to me, reach out to Clara. We're cool people. Come hang out.
Exactly.
Thank you again
So
for having me out here. This has been
oh,
really,
no, it's been great. And, you and I met on LinkedIn. So it's, again,
Mhm.
you
We
do
did.
so much there that has added a lot of value to my life. I would love to ask you one last final question before we say goodbye. And that is sitting where you sit today, learning everything that you've learned on your journey in life up to this point. How do you define success for yourself today?
That's a good question. The success is helping people change lives. The more lives I can help people think of and help think things through, I consider that a great day. Having this conversation, this is one more person that, we had a great conversation. We've known each other before, but if somebody gets something out of this, then I feel like it's successful.
Beautiful. Love that. Well, Eric, thank you so much. I wish you so much continued success. And I'm just really excited to share this with the world. So thanks for being a guest.
Thank you so much.
I really like this conversation because I feel I am someone that has not always trusted my intuition. And I can even see that now. I second guess it. I get confused. I get afraid. I start feeding into, oh, that's going to be hard. My worthiness issues come in. But when I truly get to that quiet place and I listen to my intuition, it's always guiding me in the right direction, whether it's my projects, whether it's my business decisions, whether it's who I want to work with, who I want to spend time with. That little voice inside of us. And as Eric talked about, that spidey sense, it is guiding us. So some of the things that he talked about is again, leaning in, the idea that virtually all successful people have had to follow their intuition. It's about being innovative, being creative, and looking for alternate ways to solve problems. So leaning into that. Yes, you want to gather the data, but trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, or if you have a creative inclination inside of you, research it, dive into it. Love the idea that he talked about get away from the technology and get to a quiet space, whether it's meditation, going for a walk, sitting, coloring, but getting your brain into a spot where it can just go through all those internal file cabinets and find them. The idea of learn from others, learn from the people in the past. Everything we have in front of us today was an innovation, and some of the innovations have been improved upon. Why not you? You have it inside of you too. So know that you can bring something great. And then I love his just closing of the idea of, are you just making the world a better place? Know that what you are willing to do, what you are looking to do, it doesn't have to impact everybody, but can it impact somebody? Because that somebody can be the start of everybody. So I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Would love to hear back from you. Please make sure to comment, email us, let us know what are some of the takeaways that you're getting. And, we're looking to build this brand and take these messages global. So make sure that you help us grow the show by rating it, reviewing it, and always, always make sure that you are sharing it. Thanks for being a part of this. I'm Clara Capano and look forward to seeing you next time for another episode of Clarity in Action.